Hi, welcome to the Soccer Dad version 1.2 sneak peek video. Soccer Dad is an iPhone app for soccer coaches. What I'm going to show you today is a few new features that are in the latest version that's due to be submitted to Apple soon. The first feature request that I had was from a coach who'd been using Soccer Dad and getting familiar with it at home before he actually took it on the field for his first game, which I think is a fantastic idea. The problem that he ran into is, as he played his practice games at home, Soccer Dad was keeping track of all those times, so that when he went out to play his first real game, the algorithm was off essentially. So there's now just a quick option on the team screen that allows you to reset the playing times for the season. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is setting up a game and some of the new features there. So let's go into our schedule, set up our first game. Just quickly. And these things are not new. Okay, the first new thing is game times. Soccer Dad had these predefined game times at 10-minute intervals. Well, not every game is an equal interval, so there's now another field here where you can type in an interval that's not shown in the predefined list, and that becomes your game time. You can also do the same thing for half times, and what you can see is I used this before, and so these become your defaults when you define new events. Okay, so there's 42 minutes for my game time and 25 minutes for my half time. There are some advanced options at the bottom of the screen now, and this really has to do with the way that the scheduling algorithm works. The first is called positioning type, and this is how the algorithm is going to work in terms of how it calculates positions for players. The default, and this is the way that Soccer Dad worked in earlier versions, is it's based on playing times for the whole season. The other option here is you can actually base the algorithm on just the current game. So if you want to make sure that in this game everybody gets equal playing time or as close as it can get, you can do that. And the third one is if you want to manage substitutions yourself, you can select that, and then some of the new features in terms of substitutions will help out in terms of managing your playing time. Okay. Some of the other options here are another request from a coach was that goalkeeping, often you might want to substitute everybody else, but you want to keep the same person in goal. It takes longer to substitute the goalkeeper, so you might only want to do that at halftime or let the goalkeeper actually play the whole game. So if you slide this over to fix goalkeeper on, the goalkeeper will not get substituted even though you're doing automatic rotations. Finally, timing the goalkeeping. So what you can do here is you can say that goalkeeping time does not really count towards your total playing time. So if somebody gets stuck in goal and then they come out, they'll get first option in terms of playing on the field. Okay. Okay, so there's my game set up. The next thing I wanted to show you is in settings, and we now have a little section here called Customize Stats Categories. One of the things that I struggled with when I first defined the categories of stats that you could collect with Soccer Dad was I needed to sort of include everything in order to cover all my bases. What this now allows you to do is either select from a subset of the predefined stats or actually enter your own. So what I'm going to do as an example, I just want to keep track of goals. Okay, so there's goals. One thing that's not in here is passing, which I think is very important, especially for my younger players. Put in an abbreviation because that gets used in the report, okay, as the report headings. And also important to me is that these guys show teamwork. So I want to just keep track of instances of that, just so I can give the players some pointers. Okay, so now I have my, those are the 3 categories that I'm going to be able to report on and collect, and I can even drag them around into whatever order I want. Okay, so now if I go to actually play my game and go to my reports, those are the stats that I'll see. Okay, so I'm going to go into the gameplay screen because some things have changed here. I'm playing that game that I just set up. And the first thing you notice here is we have the addition of these boxes that actually show you the playing time for this game. So the game hasn't started yet. We're on 0-0. As we start the game, you actually see these times keep in sync with the game time. Okay, so the interesting thing is that if I now go to substitute somebody, let's say George, I'm going to substitute him. Now playing times are also shown in the substitution grid, and SoccerDad uses its algorithm to order these players in the order that it thinks are the best suited for that position. Colors are also important here. Red indicates that these players have not played in that position, that particular position, or in that zone, so they haven't played in offense, let's say. The yellow figures are these players have actually not played in that particular position, but they have played in as a forward or as a midfielder or whatever position we're substituting for here. And there is actually a green, which we might see later, and that is players who've actually played in that position and in that zone. Okay, so I'm going to put Kate on the field. So this is an immediate substitution that I'm doing here. And you see that the playing times now, Kate is starting at 0 here, and the other ones are just counting up. The other new feature is that the second screen here, and this brown background may change, that was a clipboard. This is really a planning your next rotation. So even if I'm in automatic mode here, but any changes I make here are not going to take effect until I make my move to my next rotation. So before, if I picked a player to substitute who was on the field, it would actually switch them. Here it won't. So I can say, well, who's played the most here? Emily, and I want to instead put on somebody else. And that was just a switch. Let's find somebody who's actually not on this page. Okay, so Ian will go on in that place in the next rotation. Okay, so again, any changes here are not going to affect the people on the field right now. They'll go on in mass when I actually go to my next rotation. What you may also have noticed is if I go back to my playing screen, if I go to my stats, now I'm only showing the stats that I've selected as my custom stats. So this makes it a lot cleaner. I don't have to do any scrolling. I can see all my stats, and I can also see all my subs. Okay, so we can say Ava scored a goal, Emily passed the ball, and Ethan showed a bit of teamwork. Okay, and again, flip the screen over, and again, this report is now just showing you based on those stats categories that I've defined. Okay, so these are a few of the new features that are going to be in the next version. I encourage you to give me feedback if you think these features require a little bit of adjustment, or if you can think of things that I've missed that you really need as part of this version. Okay, thanks for your attention. Always more information available at soccerdadapp.com.